And then the district attorney, for the people that don't know, is responsible for prosecuting the felonies in those 4 counties. And my platform is quite simple: tough, smart, and fair. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to be tough on violent crime, because I understand that violent crimes destroys families and it destroys communities. And I don't know that from some theoretical standpoint. I know that from a personal experience. Somebody that I love was robbed at gunpoint one night. 4 gentlemen came to her house, and being the nice neighbor that she is, she opened the door. Gun to the head, get to the ground, stay down there, take the TV, take everything in the house. And I had to talk to her the next day. And I know what type of experience that was for her and what type of impact that had on her life. And I know that how that process of that prosecution impacted her. The longer the delay, the more she worried. Every time the case was continued, she would come back to my office distraught. So I understand that our district attorney needs to prioritize violent crime. We need to make sure that we don't treat violent crimes the same we do the other crimes. That needs to be our first, second, and third priority. And what I'll do is I'll set up a violent crime unit that takes our best attorneys and make sure they are focusing on the most important cases. Because I think we need to make sure our most competent lawyers are handling the most important cases. Now, I'm a Democrat, and I'm not ashamed of that. And as Democrats, we know that we're not ashamed of being smart. Because if you're tough but not smart, what are you? You're reckless. And what I mean by that is, we know that America now has the highest incarceration rate in the world. Mississippi has the second highest incarceration rate of any of the states. And the majority of the people we're incarcerating are people there for non-violent crimes. So we've got to be smart about how we handle non-violent criminals. Because a lot of times the worst thing you can do, and I'm young enough to know this. I'm young enough to have been around some people that made mistakes when they were a young age. They got around some people that peer pressured them into doing the wrong thing. And they're not bad kids, but they got on the bad track. And I know the worst thing we can do for a lot of these kids is send them to jail. Because 5 to 6 years later, it may seem like you're being tough, but 5 or 6 years later, they've got a felony on their record. Good luck getting a job. If they got children, they haven't seen their children, so they're not connected to their kids at all. A lot of times what ends up happening is somehow they get on disability, so the public, the taxpayers, we're still paying for them. They're not productive citizens anymore. So for that young person, if they get caught with possession of a drug or some other non-violent crime, what we need to do is try to find alternatives to incarceration. Because we need to take every chance we can get. We need to take every chance we can get to get young people's life back on track. It's good for them and it's good for us in the long run. Now, the final platform I run on is fair. And what I mean by that is this. I want to be fair to everyone. I don't want anybody to feel like it matters if they got the most expensive criminal defense lawyer in the state or just a public defender. I'm going to take my platform and apply to everyone fairly. And that's important to me because that's what my parents taught me. Now, I'm running against an opponent who's been there quite a long time. He's been there so long, it's hard for me to calculate how long it's been. But I know it's over 20 years. And as long as I've been around, his platform has been, if you were the victim. And that's a platform that's based on fear. That's a platform that's trying to think people, to think about if they're scared. But my platform, I think, is about making our society better. It's about hope. The idea that we can prioritize violent crime, but also be smart on nonviolent crime. That we can reduce crime by being smart on the front end, not just on the back end. And the idea that I haven't been doing it so long that I've become cynical. Whenever you do something too long, you become cynical. So I'll look at things with a fresh eye. So I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your prayers. My election is not until November because my opponent is an independent. So when you go to polls in October, don't forget to come back in November. Or excuse me, August. Don't forget to come back in November. Thank y'all so much for letting me speak.